How's it going, everyone? So a little bit of a different video today. I'm going to teach you how to antique brass and do it without any special chemicals or equipment, having to order anything really. You'll probably have everything that you need already at home, or if you don't, you should be able to find it very, very easily by just a quick trip to the shop. And what is antiquing? It's different. A lot of people get this mixed up. It's different to blackening or chemically tarnishing. You can use things like gun blue to blacken steel. You can use brass. You can use liver of sulfur to darken the tone of it. But what I'm talking about is a process called antiquing. And basically it's really rapidly simulating the natural texture and patina that brass develops over years and years and years. It's often very sort of associated with a nautical look, because a lot of brass was used on old ships, and the salt water atmosphere of being on a ship would cause the patina to form. So we're patinaing this brass fitting here using this method, and I'll show you what it looks like. So what are the things you're going to need for this? Obviously you're going to need the brass things that you want to antique, maybe belt buckles or harness equipment for a horse, maybe knife guards or pommels and things like that. So you're going to need that, but you're also going to need a vegetable steamer, just a little stovetop one, you know, where they've got the little mesh thing. You're going to need some fine steel wool, ultra fine, the finest you can get. You're going to need some white vinegar. You're going to need some table salt, not rock salt, but good old-fashioned table salt. And you're going to need some WD-40. Pretty easy to find things that you've probably already got at home. And let me just show you what you have to do to actually make it work. So it's all pretty straightforward, really. There's no trick to it. You just need to take your veggie steamer and you want to put in white vinegar into that pot. You want to fill it to just below the level where it would hit that mesh bottom. Just below that. You don't want it to go higher than that. Once you've got it to that level, you want to put in a good amount of salt. And I mean like a fifth to a quarter of the amount of vinegar that you put in there. You want to put salt in there. And as you do it, you'll actually notice fumes start coming off very thick, but it won't last long. It'll only be for a second or two. And then you want to replace the strainer top, lift the lid, put the brass items that you want to antique inside there, and remember, the vinegar is not touching them. That's very important to remember. Vinegar does not touch them. It sits in the mesh. You put the lid on, and really, that's all the steps. So this is a slow process. It will happen over the course of about 12 to 24 hours, depending on how antiqued you want it to get. You can take it out and stop the process at any time. But the fumes that are coming up from that salt and vinegar mixture are going to coalesce around the brass piece, forcing the antiquing to happen. Now, like any chemical reaction, you can speed up this process quite considerably by introducing heat. I wouldn't recommend doing this in your house unless you really like salt and vinegar chips. Because your house will smell of it. So you can actually take what would normally take 12 to 24 hours and condense it down to 10 or 15 minutes if you put this on a simmer, so that you get the real sort of steam coming up through. You don't want to go much higher than a very, very light simmer. You want it to just be enough to make the steam be visible. But it will make it happen lightning fast. You actually have to be quite careful with it. Be mindful that because all the fumes are moving up, the underside is going to patina faster than the other side. So give it a flip every so often. It's not really that necessary. You could flip it once during the entire procedure and you'll be fine. But you will achieve remarkable results. But when you first pull it out of the thing at the end of the period that you're doing it for, you're going to see it's going to look very ugly. It's going to look like it's been buried at the bottom of the sea for a while. It's going to have some blue sort of crustiness form on it. It's going to look moist and damp, and you're going to think, oh god, it's ruined. It's not. That's not the final step. The final step is to take an old rag, put it in the rag, spray it down thoroughly with WD-40, and rub it down with the fine steel wool. all over. Now you don't want to really scrub it with this because this will buff it back to a shine. You just want to lightly knock off the antiquing until you get to the level that you're happy with, and you can repeat this process multiple times to experiment with it and find the level of antiquing that you're happy with. But antiqued parts look awesome. They really add character to anything that you're doing, whether it's a knife hilt or whether it's buckles on a belt if you're doing leather crafting or what have you. Antiquing is an awesome look and a really great way to add unique character to a piece, because it's going to look different every time. You can't replicate it perfectly each time. So hopefully that adds a little bit of flair to your work, and like I said, something you can easily do at home, and I've been having a great time with it. And you can see in my future pieces, as of recording this video, a little bit of this starting to make an appearance. So hopefully you're all doing well. Make sure you follow me at all the links down below. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Etsy, I'm on Redbubble, I'm on Patreon, and my lovely supporters who have made this video possible will be shouted out at the end of the video. And consider subscribing if you're wanting to join that list of epic people. Otherwise, I am going to see you guys all later. Bye.
When it rains, we get trapped for days on the peninsula. The hazards of our primrose path, south of a swollen river. The power cut, all the lights went out, and I walk you home